back to the session of business correspondence and reporting. Today will be the second session of the topic sentence types, active, passive, and direct and indirect speech. I hope you all are doing very well and you are all prepared. And the last session was helpful to you. If it was, kindly let me know in the comment section that the session was good. And if there is any problem, you can tell me now that, ma'am, just help me with this. I did not understand this. So if there's any problem, you can just send me the queries and I will help you with it. Right? Like I told you last time also, I want you to be ready with your notebook, your pencil, and your, of course, your study material, because I will be using your study material a lot today, right? And also, what I want you to know is the topics that we will be doing in today's session and in today's session, they are the very important topics, not just from the point of view of your exam, but also from the point of view of your overall learning about the language. If you get these 3-4 topics right, you will never get your language wrong. In the last class, I was explaining you about the components and what are the components of the sentence structure and how we frame the sentences, what type of sentences do we have, what kinds of sentences we have based on based on functionality and structure. But in this one, we will be talking about that how a sentence can be correct with respect to how the subject and verb works together in a sentence, first of all. Then we will be talking about the tenses, which is again very important. Whenever you are speaking, your sentences should be correct in terms of the time of the action, right? Whenever you're talking about something that has already happened, something that is happening right now, or something that is going to happen in future, so you should know how to use the tenses. Once these two topics are clear to you, then we come to the most important topic of active passive voice, right? And let me tell you beforehand, you must have seen the previous year's examination papers also, you must have seen the mock test also. Mostly the questions comes from active passive voice and direct and indirect speech. But why we need to learn everything else is because if you do not understand the components and the the little detailings, you won't be able to understand active, passive, and direct and indirect speech, right? So without wasting further time, I will be starting with my today's class, and I will be starting with the subject verb agreement. Give me 1 second. I'm just sharing my screen so that I can see. All right. No, I think this got some problem. Wait. All right. So today's topic is subject verb agreement. Now, I hope you remember what is the meaning of the word subject. In the last class, I think we have in detail study about what is a subject and what is a verb, right? Now we will understand that what do you mean by subject verb agreement. In a sentence, it is very important that the subject and verb agrees together. Remember, I told you that there are finite verbs that changes their form according to the number of the subject and the tense of the subject and tense of the situation, timing of the situation, right? So here, now that thing comes into play. The verb has to agree with subject to convey the correct meaning, to express the right thought, right? Now, what does that mean? Look at these two sentences. She is playing in the park, right? She is playing in the park. The next sentence is they are playing in the park. Right? Now, let's first identify the subjects in both the statements. Right? In the first sentence, the subject is she. Yes. In the next sentence, the subject is they. Right? Right? Okay. Now, the verbs. Let's just talk about the verbs here first. The verbs are is playing and are playing. The verb phrase, I would say, I would call them verb phrase. Remember, we discussed about the verb phrase also in the last class. This is the verb phrase, right? Playing is, of course, the same, right? What kind of a verb is playing? Who's going to tell me? What kind of a verb is playing? Since it has ing, what type of verb would you call it? Can anyone answer this to me? सर मेरी आवाज बहुत धीरे आ रही है. सर सर एक सेकंड दीजिए मुझे. I'll just be back. हेलो 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 हेलो. अब ठीक है. ओके, परफेक्ट. I will just share it once again. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience caused. I hope I am audible now. I've just changed my internet connection. So coming back to the topic, subject verb agreement. So we are talking about that in a sentence, how a subject has to agree with the verb to convey the correct meaning grammatically, right? Now she is playing and they are playing. What is the difference here? How do we understand about the subject here, if the subject is singular or plural? Right? So when we talk about subject verb agreement, we talk mostly about the number of the subject, right? The verb works according to the number of the subject. If the subject is singular, the verb used will be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb used will be plural. Okay. Now, she is singular. So we are using is, right? And they is plural. Of course, we are talking about many people, right? So we use are. That is a plural verb here. Am I clear? I'll explain once again. I'll repeat once again because I know my voice was erratic earlier. So, subject verb agreement is actually, what does it mean? The subject verb agreement. That a subject in a sentence and the verb in a sentence should agree according to the number of the subject. Am I clear? Yes. I hope I am audible to everyone now. Oh, I just realized I asked you a question. What kind of a verb is playing? Yes, it is participle. It is not gerund. No. Guys, if my voice is better now, just leave a message that you can hear me now. Okay. Now, let's talk about some rules in subject verb agreement. There are certain rules that we need to follow when we are studying about subject verb agreement, right? There are about 20 rules, I would say, but there are about 20 rules mentioned in your study material also, right? And they're all easy to understand if you practice them well, if you understand them well, right? They're not very difficult to manage. Let's start with the first and the foremost and the basic rule of subject verb agreement. And believe me, most of the people get this basic rule wrong. And if you get the basic rule wrong, everything else goes for the toss, right? Okay. I'm writing two forms of verbs here. For example, the base form of the verb is play. Okay. Now here, plays and play. I have written play in two forms, plays and play. Okay. Now, one form of play is used, the plays are out of these two, one is used with a singular subject and one is used with plural subject. Can you tell me which form of verb is used with which subject? What I'm trying to ask you here is play used with the singular subject or plural subject? If plays is used with singular subject or plural subject? Quickly answer because I want to know this, how much of you understand this already. This is the basic understanding of subject verb agreement. Quickly, quickly, quickly. If plays is used with singular subject or plural subject, play is used with singular subject or plural subject. I'm waiting for your responses. Let's be quick because we have too much to do today. All right, never mind. I have not got responses yet, so I will tell you this. Place is used with singular subject and play as a base form is used with plural subject. Now, please understand, whenever the subject is singular, we add s after the base form of the verb, right? Can you see this s here? Yes. So run will become runs, walk will become walks, eat will become eats, cook will become cooks, teach will become teaches, and so on. Right? If the subject is plural, the base form will remain the same. Play will remain play, run, teach, cook, walk, everything will remain the same. Am I clear? Yes. Let me give you two examples here to clarify this. The sun shines brightly. The sun shines brightly. We're talking about one sun. There's only one sun that we have, right? So sun is a singular subject. Hence, we use the singular form of verb. We add s to the verb. Shine will become shines. Am I clear? Yes. Look at the another example. The diamonds shine in sunlight. Okay, the diamonds shine in sunlight. Just a frame example. Okay, now diamonds is a plural subject. Yes. So we use a plural form of verb. The shine will remain shine. Am I getting this? This basic rule. Is it clear? I'll repeat once again. The subject and verb must agree with each other in number. Everything is about number here. Am I clear? Yes. Yes, I will write in a big bold terms if somebody is not able to still hear me. Subject and verb must agree in clear. Can I move on? Yes. Okay. The next rule is if you look at your study material on page number 2.13, the next rule says uh, subordinate clauses that come between the subject and verb don't agree their agreement. Yes. Okay. Now you know what subordinate clauses? Do you remember the subordinate clause? Who remembers it? Okay. The my uncle who lives in Mumbai is coming to Delhi tomorrow. My uncle who lives in Mumbai is coming to Delhi. Now, what does the second rule says? Subordinate clause. Which is the subordinate clause in this sentence? Subordinate clause. Remember, subordinate clauses starts from who, which, that, although, because, right? So this is the subordinate clause here. Now, what this rule says, that if there is a subordinate clause, right, that comes between the subject and the verb, the agreement doesn't change, right? The subject is uncle, so the verb will be according to uncle because we are talking about uncle, right? Irrespective of there is a subordinate clause, the subject verb agreement will not change. Clear? So, having said that, it is very important for you to understand that uh, you should be able to identify subject in a sentence. You should know about whom we are talking, who is the main subject of any sentence. Am I clear? Yes. So now it is very important. You might think Mumbai is subject, but Mumbai is not subject. We are talking about my uncle here. So my uncle is subject here, right? And the verb has to be according to my uncle. For example, if I would have said, oh, there's another catch here. In subordinate clause also, if there is a verb that will be related to the subject, there's another catch here, right? Lives in Mumbai, not jungle, in Mumbai. If it, I would have said, my uncle and my aunt who live in Mumbai are coming to Delhi tomorrow. Yes. Okay, so there are two catches here, and I think that is missing in your study material, and this is something that will be missing in most of the websites in the book also. So there are two verbs here, both verbs depend on the subject here. And even if there is no verb as such in the subordinate clause, then also the main verb will not change. The main verb will depend on the subject. Am I clear? Are you understanding till here? If you're understanding, keep writing in the comment section because so that I know you are understanding. Khushi, no. Play is plural. Plays with Diya, very good. Plays is singular, and play is with plural. Neha, very good. So, no, Soumya, again, that is wrong. Tanu, very good. So, yeah, most of you have understood now. If you have understood these two important rules, then I'll move ahead. Okay, great. So many of you have said that now you have understood. Okay, let's move on to the next rule. Next rule says the prepositional phrase. It is about the prepositional phrases. Again, I've told you in the last class also what prepositional phrases. Yes, I will not repeat again. So now you understood how things are related with each other. If I would have not taught you about the phrases and clauses in the last class, how you would have understood such important topics, right? That was the foundation of all the important topics that we will be doing in these two classes. Now, I will not explain what prepositional phrases. If there's someone who doesn't understand, please go back and listen to my last lecture so that you understand what prepositional phrase is. Now, it says a prepositional phrase cannot contain the subject of the sentence. We know this, right? The prepositional phrase does not have the subject in a sentence, right? So that is an object. In the prepositional phrase, we have the object, not the subject, which means the prepositional phrase has no effect on the verb. The verb will again work according to the subject of the sentence. For example, if you look at your, this thing, examples given in your study material, it says the colors of the rainbow are beautiful, right? Now, we are not talking about rainbow here. We're talking about the colors of the rainbow, which means the verb has to be according to the colors, not rainbow, right? The colors of the rainbow are beautiful. Food between the teeth results into decay, right? So we are talking about the food, not the teeth. Teeth is a plural word, right? But food is the singular subject, which is why we will use a singular verb. Am I clear? I hope this is clear to you. Yes, I will be writing two sentences here and you will be telling me the correct answer in this. Right, let's start. The boy at the door is my brother. The boy at the door is my brother. Now, what is the subject here? Which is the subject here? Is it the boy or the door? This is confusing because both are singular subjects. They are both are singular in number. So now, is his following whom? The boy or the door? So which is the main subject in this sentence? Who is going to tell me? And you should be also able to answer me the prepositional phrase. Which is a prepositional phrase in this? Mosam, right? The phrase that starts with preposition is called prepositional phrase, and that is followed by the object, noun, or pronoun, something. Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to quickly tell me about this? Okay, never mind. I think the answers reached to me quite late. So the main subject is boy here. We are talking about the boy who is standing outside the door. So hence the verb will be according to the boy here. If it was, if the sentence was the people at the door are my cousins. Because now we are talking about too many people, more than two people, right? So that's plural in number. The subject is plural in number. So we will call it plural, and the verb will be plural again. It's a simple rule. Understood? The basic rule from the second and the third is, the bottom line is, for the second and third rule is that you just have to look at the main subject in a sentence. You do not have to look at the subordinate clause. You don't have to look at the prepositional phrase. Nothing. Clear? All good? Can we move on? Okay, rule number 4. According to your study material, please keep referring to your study material, because I am moving according to your study material. Okay, I am not changing the sequence of the rules, because otherwise you will not understand. Right? The next rule says, when sentence starts with there or here, there or here, right, the subject will always be placed after the verb. Okay, in case the sentence starts with there or here, the subject always comes after the verb, right? Again, you have to look at the subject first and then decide your verb. If the verb will be singular or plural, you have to look at your subject first. So irrespective of the subject comes in the beginning or in the end, the verb will work according to the subject. Clear? Okay, look at the examples here. There is someone at the door. There is someone at the door. Yes, we're talking about there is someone at the door, right? Someone, we're talking about one person here, so it's singular, hence the verb will be singular. If I say, here are your keys. Now I'm talking about keys here. Keys is plural, so the verb will also be plural. And in both the cases, if you see, the subject is coming after the verb. In this case, the subject is someone. In this case, the subject is keys. Clear? This was easy. Will you remember this in case of, it's in the case of here and there. Okay, next example. Next rule is, if two subjects are joined by and, they typically require a plural verb form. Okay, now that we have started talking about the words joined by and, there are 3 different rules to it. The first rule says, the first rule says that if two things or two people or two separate things are joined by and, we use plural verb. Now, for example, if I say a car and a bike are my means of transportation. A car and a bike are my means of transportation. So I'm talking about two things here, two separate things here. They're joined by and. So two things, plural verb. First rule says this: whenever you are joining any two things, you use the plural. My father and my mother are coming for my annual day function. Yeah, my mother and father are attending my graduation party, right? So mother and father, we're talking about two people here, hence the plural verb, right? The next one says, next rule says, the verb will be used singular when there are two words that always come together. There are two words that are supposed to be always together, but they're just separated by the word and, right? For example, if I talk about red beans and rice, which is mentioned in your study material also. Red beans and rice, rajma chawal, we all know this. They always come together, right? So they are one compound noun, they're one unit, right? But they are just separated by and, but we will still consider this as the one unit. Am I clear? In that case, we use singular. Breaking and entering is against the law. Breaking and entry comes together. right? Breaking an entry is against the law. So we use such compound nouns as the one unit, right? Am I clear? Yes, yes. The bread and butter is my favorite breakfast. The bread and butter always comes together. Yes, it is one unit because obviously you apply butter on the bread. Can you have just bread and can you have butter separately? No. So usually you always keep these two things together, the bread and butter, right? So the bread and butter we consider as the one unit. Then bread and butter is my favorite breakfast. Is my favorite breakfast. Okay, so in case of bread and butter, we again use a singular verb, right? Okay, the last and rule says there is one more and rule. Look at the on 2.5 page number, look at the rules 16 and 17. No, 16. Okay, rule number 16. This is also about and. If two infinites are separated by and, they take plural form of verb. This is quite easy to understand. If I'm talking about two activities or two actions, right? They're two. So obviously I will be using plural verb. They are of course joined by and, but of course I'm talking about again two different things, right? To walk and to chew gum require a great skill, right? Uh, to climb and to get down uh, is are very tiring, right? You know, when you step up and then you step down, it's very tiring, right? So this one is easy. I am not getting into it to waste time. We are again talking about two separate activities, and this is why we are using plural verb. Now let's talk about the eighth rule. Again, a very important tool. You can mark it also there, that this is an important rule. Whenever any sentence starts with each, every, no, if these words come before the subject, the verb is singular. Am I clear? Yes, yes. Okay. For example, uh, no person is allowed to enter the mall without the mask. Okay, no person is allowed. I am talking about that nobody is allowed. Since I have add no, I will be using a singular verb. Yes. Okay, one each. Each child is each child is being given an extra mask, right? So I'm talking about it, every child is getting the mask, right? But since I have added each here, I am going to talk about the singular verb again. Clear, guys? Yes. So just it's a golden rule. Whenever there is each, every, no before any subject, we use a singular verb. Simple. Clear? Okay. Now let's talk about the another rule where it involves or, nor, neither, or either, or not only, and but also. Whenever we use these or, nor, neither, either, or, not only but also. There are three rules to it. Okay, the first one says, again, if the subject is singular, the verb is singular, right? If I'm talking about my aunt or my uncle is arriving by train today. Now I'm talking about two singular things, so about two different people, right? One is my aunt and one is my uncle, and either of them is coming today, right? Not both of them. If both of them will be coming, then I will be using and, not or, right? So when I use or, I am talking about it. Either of these two people are coming today. So ultimately, one person is coming today, right? So now this sentence, these here two these subjects are connected by or, which means we will be using singular verb here. Clear? Yes. Look at one more example. Neither Ria nor Rima are available. Look at the sentence and tell me if there is anything wrong in the sentence. Look at this sentence and tell me if there is something wrong in this sentence. Neither Ria nor Rima are available. If there is something wrong in the sentence, quickly tell me. Oh, I'm glad most of you answered for the boy is at the door is my brother. Somebody has asked me if has is singular or plural. Has is singular. Have is plural. Is there anyone who would like to answer me for this question? Right. So in place of are, we will be using is. Why so? Because with neither and nor, we use singular verb. Am I clear? Now are we understanding this? Yes? Okay, so the next rule says if one subject is singular and the one subject is plural, then what I mean is that if one subject is singular and another one is plural, let's just say next sentence, the verb will follow the subject that is closest to it. Okay, there are two subjects in such sentences. So if one is singular and one is plural, right, whichever is closest to the verb will follow it, right? Now what do I mean? Look at these two sentences very carefully. Neither the plates nor the serving bowl goes on that shelf. Okay. Now, next sentences. Read both the sentences very carefully. Neither the serving bowl nor the plates go on that shelf. Neither the serving bowl. Now, look at both the sentences. Both the sentences are correct. Okay, both the sentences are correct. There is no problem in the sentences. What I am trying to tell you here is there are two subjects. One is plates and one is a serving bowl. Right? Similarly, in the next one also we have serving bowl and we have plates. Clear? Yes. Okay. So now, if you see, the verbs are different. In the first one, I have used singular verb. In the next one, I have used plural verb. Why? Because I will be following the subject which is closest to the verb. In this case, the first verb the verb that is closest to the subject that is closest to the verb is singular. So I have used singular verb. In the next sentence, the subject which is closest to the verb is plural. So I have used plural. Am I clear, guys? Yes, this was easy. I'm sure it was easy. Yes. Okay. There is just one rule left, which says about the plural thing. Yeah, so this one is easy. You can look at the 12th one, which says if the subjects are plural and are connected by nor and neither nor, either or not only or because, the verb will be plural. This is understood. If both the subjects are plural, then the verb will be plural. Not only the dogs, but also the cats are available at the animal shelter, right? So I am talking about the two subjects that are plural, so verb will be automatically plural. Clear? These are the basic one and important one. I don't think I will be taking the rest of them also today. Yes, there's one more which is important. The 11th one, which says a singular verb form is usually reserved for whenever we are talking about, the quantity of something, or measurement of something, or distance, a period of time, sum of money. Whenever we're talking about such things, we treat them as the singular unit. Like it says, $10 is a high price to pay. $10, right? So we, because it's in a unit, right, in a unit of money, then we will take it as a single unit. Like you will take it as a singular subject, right? Because we are talking about the money here. Yes, if I say the notes of $10 are lying on the floor, I am talking about the notes, the number of notes, right? But $10, if I'm just talking about $10 is a high price to pay. I am going to treat that as a singular verb, right? If I say 3 kilograms of rice is required today, right? 3 kilograms of rice is required today, because I'm talking about quantity of rice. That with that I will be using the singular verb, right? But if I say 2 bags of rice are required today, I'm talking about 2 bags. I'm talking about like 2 bags. I'm not talking about the quantity, but I'm talking about like 2 separate bags that I would require today. Then I will use the plural verb. Clear? Am I clear with subject verb agreement? Rest of the things should be clear to you. Hmm. Last, 18th point. 18 point says the collective noun can be either singular or plural depending upon the rest of the sentence. Typically, they take the singular form as a collective noun is treated as a cohesive single unit. So whenever we're talking about a collective noun, right, the herd of cows, the committee, the jury, or the couple, the parents, these are the collective nouns, right? We are talking about two people and by using just one word. But it depends on the kind of collective noun that we are using. Based on that, we decide the singular or plural verb to be used. For example, the club is meeting today. Okay, so club of anyone, like any kind of professionals could be meeting today. So the club means the group of people they are meeting today, right? If I say the group of people are meeting today, if I say the club, I'm just using the word club for them. The club is a collective noun, okay, and I'm talking about one club here, right? So I will be using singular verb. But if I say the couple are separating today, so couple comprises of two people, right? And they're separating today, right? So I will be using are, because couple is in the end two people. The parents is are, okay, because mother and father together are called parents, right? So we use are for them. So based on that, you have to see what you're looking at, what you're writing, and what you're speaking. Based on that, you choose the singular verb or the plural verb. Are we clear with subject verb agreement? Yes. Can I move on to the next topic of tenses? Is there any confusion that you still have? There are just 3 4 points left, I think, but you can manage that on your own. The major ones I have made you understood. The rest of them is they are quite easy to understand on your own. So I have to start with tenses now. But before that, I would like to know if subject verb agreement is clear to you or not. Arpita, yes, I am following the new study material. All right, so let me start with the topic of the day, the next topic of the day, which is the tenses. Okay, now this is again one of my favorite topics, tenses. Now, what do you mean by tenses? In whenever you're studying any language that you study, tenses is a very important part of the grammar. Yes, you should know about, in which time frame you're talking about your action. Right? Tenses basically tell you about the time of the action, right? Whether the action is complete, whether action is still in progress, or whether action will take place, right? So these are the three things that tenses tell you. If the action is complete or in progress or will take place, right? So these are the three different time zones, and this is what even we have in real life. Either we can talk about something that happened, something that is happening right now, or that something will happen. Now, what do we call them? So we call them past, present, and future. So we are talking about three time frames here, the three categories which tells us about the time of the action, right? So of course, the past tells you about the things that has already happened. It could be earlier in the day. It could be, I'm talking about something that happened yesterday. It could be something that happened last week, last year, 5 years ago. So past covers everything, right? Now, present is used to describe things that is happening right now, and things are that are continuous, like I just said, in progress. So present tells you about things that are happening right now. Okay, and it's just in progress while I'm speaking also. So this is present, like I am teaching. So this is part of present, right? I taught direct and indirect object in my last class. So that is past tense. I will teach direct and indirect speech in the next class. So that means that is future. Presently, I'm teaching you tenses. In past, I have taught you about direct indirect object, and in future, I will be teaching you about uh, direct indirect speech. Am I clear? Yes. Good. So good so far. These are the three basic understandings. Future tense describes things that are yet to happen. Something that might happen later in the day. Something that is planned maybe for tomorrow. Something that is planned for the next week, for the next month, for the next year. So things that have not happened at all, but will happen. You have planned for some things, and some things might happen naturally to you. So these are called, that is future tense. So, clear? Yes. I am receiving everybody's query. I don't know why everybody is asking me if my query is reaching to you or not. I am getting everybody's query. Don't worry, I'm going through everything and all your queries will be answered towards the end. Don't worry. If even if I'm not answering to you right now, I will answer to you. Okay. Spelling of query. Okay, never mind. So, yes, coming back to this tenses. Now, let's take the basic understanding of these three things. Three kinds of tenses. It's food. The dog ate its food. The dog will eat its food. Now, quickly tell me which is in present tense, which is in past tense, and which is in future tense. This is easy, not very difficult. Even if you know the basics of English, this should be easy for you. Somebody asked me, I taught and I have taught. Ankit, I will tell you as I proceed with this. Right. The first one is present tense. The second was in past tense, and the last one is in future tense. And like I told you, how do we get to know about the tenses? I've explained you when we were doing verbs. So verb is a deciding factor, and that tells you about the tenses, if it's present, past, or future, right? Subject doesn't change, object will not change, the preposition will not change, the conjunctions will not change. It is only the verb that changes with the tense. It is only the verb that tells you about the time of the action. So let's look at the verb in all the three sentences. Eats, ate, right? And will eat. Clear? Yes. So in the first one is eats. The eats change its form in past to ate, and it changes its form again in future, will eat. So that is the difference, and that is how you get to know about it. Okay, now let's start with the further divisions in present, past, and future tense. Okay, now further, let's start with the present tense first. Present tense is further divided into simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. So even if you're talking about the present tense, now there are four more bifurcations that tell you about the exact time of the action, right? So now simple tense, continuous tense, perfect tense, and preferred continuous tense. Now this further tells you about the time of the event, right? And this will tell you about the exact thing what is happening right now. Like for example, now okay, first I will tell you about the sentence structures, and then I will tell you about the meaning of it. First I will tell you how, what is the structure used to write sentences in all four kinds of present tense, right? And then I will tell you what each type of present tense tells you about and when do you use it. Okay, so about the uses, I will tell you later. First, I will tell you about the structure, like what is the format that you need to follow for writing the sentences into the particular type of tense. Clear? Okay. Now, the simple tense. Now, in the simple tense, this is simple, and here we use the subject verb agreements basic formula, right? Look at here. I prefer my tea over coffee, right? I prefer. Now, one more thing. Maybe I have not told you earlier this, but with I, we use the base form of the verb. This is an exception. When we use I, we use the base form of the verb. Okay. And we use the plural form of the verb with I. I do not like. I prefer. Right, so this is one thing that you should know. This, I think I've missed out while I was teaching you about subject verb agreement. Right, now in simple tense, I prefer my tea over coffee. Right, or if you can say, she prefers her tea over coffee. Okay, now the basic structure. The structure is not mentioned in your study material. So if you want, while I am writing down, you can keep noting it down. Okay, now in the simple format, we use subject plus the base form of the verb. Depending on the number of the subject, we decide if you want to use s or not. So like she prefers, right? If it will be plural, then we will just use prefer. They prefer, she prefers, plus the rest of the object or rest of the sentence will follow. Clear? Prepositional phrase or direct object, indirect object, whatever is there will follow thereafter. But what you need to take care of is the how you use the verb in simple present. So in simple present, we have subject, then we have verb. We decide if you want to use s or not, depending upon the number of the subject, and the rest of the thing will follow in itself. Now, when do we use simple present tense? Simple present tense is used when we are generally expressing about some habits, when we are talking about some general truth, or we are talking about some routine, right? I brush my teeth every day. Uh, my baby eats 2 meals a day, right? So this is something that happens every day, right? And we use simple present. The sun, the sun rises in east. Now this is a truth. This is a scientific truth. This will never change. So we always use simple present for this. Some things that will never change, and that is something, scientifically true, and that's a universal truth. We use simple present for it. Am I clear? Yes, is simple present easy? Simple present is quite easy. So it's not very difficult to understand. Now let's come to the continuous part. Okay. Now in continuous, I can change this. No, I'll use another sentence. Let's not use this sentence. Okay. In present tense, she is listening to to the music. Okay. Now, when I say she is listening to the music, I mean she is doing the action right now as I speak. The action is still in progress. The action is still going on as I speak to you, right? So, continuous, as the name suggests, continuous, something that is continuously happening right now. But in present tense, it is happening right now, right? Now, what is the sentence structure? We have subject. Okay. Now in continuous, we use is, am, or are, depending upon the subject. If it is I will use am. If there is plural, I will use are. If it is singular, then I will use is. Plus verb, and I will use ing to it. And then rest of the sentence will follow. Object and whatever you want to add on. So she is listening to the music. They are listening to the music. I am listening to the music, right? So these are all the sentences. Or if I want to say somebody that I am not listening to the music, I will say, I am not listening to the music, right? While I'm speaking, I am not listening to the music, right? Am I clear? But if I want to question in present continuous, how will I question? Is she listening to the music? Yeah, is she listening to the music right now? Is continuous tense, right? Is she listening to the music? Am I clear? Yes, are we clear about till here, till present continuous and till simple present here? Right? So now when do we use continuous? It is one, the action is going on as I speak, and it is also used to indicate temporary action which may not be happening at the time. Also take 5 minutes break and then we will just come back, and then we have to cover the tenses and the active voice today. Clear? Let's take 5 minutes break and I will join you at 12:06. So, so, hello, hello, hello. Hello, sir. I think sir is not listening to me. Okay, guys, I think sir is not listening to me, so we can't go for the break right now. If he responds back, then we'll take the 5 minutes break. In the meantime, let's continue with what we are doing right now. So after continuous tense, we will be talking about the present perfect. Now, present perfect tense. How will you write a sentence in present perfect tense? It has rained a lot. Okay, it has rained a lot. Now, when I use present perfect, what am I trying to say here? Can you just tell the sentence? Present perfect is used when we are talking about the action which may be over, but we are not defining it by the time of occurrence. We are not saying that it rain. If I'm talking about it rained in morning, then I am talking about something that happened already in the about this. When I use present perfect tense, that means I am talking about the action that I don't want to define it by the time first. Second, I'm talking about the action that started in past but has continued up till now, right? So that means maybe the action just got over and the action was happening till now, right? But as I speak, the action is not happening anymore. If it was happening still happening, then I would have just said it is raining a lot. Am I clear? Yes. I hope you all are still here because sir did not listen to me, so we can't go for the break. It's fine. Okay. And I don't want you to miss on to the lecture also. So present perfect is used at this time, right? Now let's look at another example of present perfect, because this way I will also tell you how to use has and have. The use of has and have is also very important because half of the people don't know that when to use has or when to use have, right? Has is used with the singular subject and have is used with the plural subject, right? It has rained a lot is singular. We're talking about rain. We cannot, rain is not in plural. Rain is a singular subject. Okay. Now let's look at another example here. They have arrived at the destination, right? Now they is plural here. With plural I will use have here. Clear? Yes. Yes. Now let's talk about the structure of the sentence. In present perfect we have subject, then we use has or have depending on the singular or plural subject. Yes. And then we use the third form of the verb. You know what third form of the verb is? Later I will be using V3 for this and the rest of the sentence follows. Third form of the verb is the third form. So eat, ate, eaten, right? Clear? Uh, rain, rained, rained. Arrive, arrived, arrived. Uh, this thing. Sing, sang, sung. So third form of the use. In perfect tense, we always use a third form of the verb. Clear? Subject, has or have, third form of the verb, and the rest of the sentence comes. Right? Please keep writing this structure. This will help you how to frame your sentences. And for the third form of the verb, I suggest you to please take out the list of the verbs, and you can just go through this list once and then you will know what third form of the verbs are. Okay, the next is the next type what we will study is present perfect continuous. As the name suggests, in present perfect continuous, we will be adding the feature of perfect and continuous together. Okay, it's the same way we did compound and complex sentences. We mixed both the features together. Similarly, in present perfect continuous also, we will be adding both the features together. And now, how are we going to do this? The class have been the class have been going on, right? So now, when do we use this? We use this up to indicate an action which started at some point in past but may or may not be completed till now. So something happened in past, like for example, this class started 1 hour ago, but it is still in progress. It is not finished yet. Clear? So I am talking about something that the action that started in past and going up till. So we are not sure if it is over or not, but maybe this action is still going on. Now, if you see, there are two features added. If you see, have is from perfect and going is from continuous, right? There's another feature to it is been here. So how the structure works. We use subject, we use again has and have depending on the singular or plural subject, right? Then we use been. Been is the third form of be, right? Again, this is a feature from perfect. So we have to use a verb in third form. We will use been, okay? And then we use a verb that has the ing form, and then the sentence goes on. Clear? Any problem so far? Sure. So are we clear about the present tense in totality? Yes. Yes. Okay. Shall we start with the past tense? Can you please write down in your query box if it is clear to you? I'm waiting for your responses. Vinny, I'm just waiting for the technical team to respond. So I don't know where is the technical team. So whenever technical team comes back, I'll give you guys a break. I know we all are tired, so we need the 5 minutes break. As soon as he responds, we'll take the break. In the meantime, I don't want to waste time, so I'm going to continue. Okay, somebody asked me, how do we ask a question in perfect continuous? Very, very good question. Now, how do we ask a question in perfect, present perfect? Now, the question will be, has she been singing a song? Yes. Now, the sentence that I've asked you, the question will be, have the, okay, sorry, I did a mistake here. It just has here. Has the class been going on? If I have to ask you the question, we're talking about one class, we will use has here. Has the class been going on? This is how you ask the question. Now, how do you ask the question in perfect, uh, perfect tense? So you will ask the question, you will take your has and have in the front. Have they arrived at the destination? Rest of the thing will remain the same. Clear? Just that have will come in the in front. Now, if I ask you, it has rained a lot. Has it rained a lot? Right? So the has and have will just come in front, and that is how you ask a question. In case of simple present, we use question by using do or does or is. Clear? Any problem so far? Again, in present tense. Nisha, I could have solved some more examples, but I have a time constraint. I have two more topics to finish today. So I have some bit of a time constraint. But what I can do is it's Saturday today. So I can upload a worksheet for you guys by the end of the day. And then we can discuss that worksheet on Tuesday, whenever we have the next class. So in the beginning of that, for 10 minutes, I can discuss that worksheet with you. Am I clear? Dia, I told you to ask me questions which are part of your study material, right? This I made it very clear when I started teaching for my first class that I will not go and teach or explain anything outside your study material. Am I clear? Yes? Okay, let me just check if our technical team is here. Ram sir, hello? 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 Okay, so the next is past tense. Now in the past tense, we again have the four bifurcations. This is simple, continuous, and perfect continuous. Okay. Now let's talk about the simple past first. Now simple past is again simple, just like simple present. Here we will just use a subject along with the second form of the verb. They ran. She sang. Okay. The ed form of the verbs. Uh, the baby cried. Okay. Now, in simple past, we are just talking about the action which is already completed, or maybe we are talking about the past, some, habits. And we also use simple past for with or without adverbs of time. We don't need to mention when exactly this action got over. We're just simply saying this action is over. Am I clear? Yes. So simple past is quite easy. You just have subject and then you have a second form of the verb. I suggest you once again, please download the list of verbs with all its form, first, second, third form. And That would help you a lot where to and you understand that which verb is how the verbs are used in the second form and third form. Clear? Yes, guys. So please download that list and go through that list once, and that will make things clear to you. You might find it a bit confusing because maybe you are not aware of the second and third form of the verbs. Hello. Yes, I am so sorry for the inconvenience caused, and we in a good way we got a break also, the break that we were not getting. Okay, so coming back to the past tense, we were already discussing the past tense here. Simple past is basically subject plus the second form of the verb, and then yeah. So, like I just told you that in a simple past, this is how we use it. Now, let's come to the continuous tense. Now, what happens in the continuous tense? If I have to change this sentence into continuous, how will I change it? The baby was crying. The baby was crying. Now, this is very simple. In past continuous, we talk about the actions that are uncompleted actions of the past. Okay, so there is no we can give a time reference, we don't want to give the time reference, whatever the case is, we are talking about the action that was uncompleted in the park. We don't know when the action was completed, all we know is that baby was crying, right? And how do we what is the sentence structure here? So we have a subject, we add was plus were based on the singular or the plural subject that we have. Then we have the verb plus ing. Am I clear? Yes, guys. Yes, we got a long break because of some issues. That's fine. Okay, you got a breather also. Okay, get up then for this. Press past continuous. This is a sentence structure. Then let's quickly move on to the past perfect. Now, how do we frame a sentence in past perfect? In past perfect, we say, uh, let's take the sentence as he had left when I went to club. Okay, so we are talking about past perfect is mostly used when we are talking about two actions. One action got completed and one action was completed before that action also. So he had left when I went to the club. The first action is the recent action is that I went to the club. He had left is the action that happened before that only. So past perfect is used when we are talking about the two actions, and we are talking about that one is left and one is one it just got one just completed now and one was completed before that. Okay, and now what does it indicate to you? It indicates the completed action of the past that happened before another event took place. So two events took place and this event took place before this event. Am I clear? So subject plus had plus again the third form of the verb. I told you whenever we are talking about the perfect tense, yes, we use the third form, whether it's present tense, whether it's past tense, or whether it is future perfect, we will always use the third form of the verb. Third form. Clear? Yes. Right. Now quickly let's come to the past perfect continuous. Now in past perfect continuous, just the way we saw in they had been waiting outside the hall, right? So in here, I told you that perfect continuous is basically the mixture of perfect and the continuous forms, right? So we have had, because we are talking about the past tense here. So the had is the past form of the has and have. In this case, we use had. Then we use a third form of be, just the way we used it in present perfect. And similarly, we are using this in the past perfect also. Then we have the verb plus ing and then rest of the sentence. Am I clear? And when do we use the past perfect? Now, past perfect is used to indicate an action in the past that began before a certain point in the past and continued up till until the time, right? So there's this action that took a long time to complete, right? We're talking about an action that happened in past, but it took a long time to complete. They had been waiting outside the hall. Am I clear? Yes. Now, if you ask me how to frame the questions in respective tenses also, you will just take this had or has or have or was, did, has, just taken it in the front, and the rest of the sentence remains the same, and you just put the question mark at the end. This is how you frame the questions. Let's quickly pick up the last tense, which is the future tense. Future tense also has the four kinds. The first is simple, then we have continuous, then we have perfect, and then we have perfect continuous. But quickly, please send me your responses. Have you understood the past and the present? Have you understood? Quickly tell me that. In past perfect, Prashant, your question is in past perfect, do we use the third form, the second form? It is the third form. Okay. Anything else that you would like to know? Mukta, I think I missed your question. Can you please send it again to me? Mukta, you cannot ask me questions after the class. You can just ask me here only. Very good question. Somebody has asked me what is the difference between simple past and present perfect. I will come back to this. It's a very good question. Okay, but have you understood till here? Present tense and past, present tense and the past tense completely. Shreya, I think I missed your question. Please send it again. Okay, let's not waste time. Let's quickly start with the future then. In future, again, the simple remains the simplest of all. It indicates about an action or condition or circumstance which hasn't taken place yet, but will take place. Okay, so when I say, I will teach active, passive. I will teach active and passive. So this is simple future. Okay. In simple future, we use will plus the base form of the verb. Clear? Yes. Are you guys understanding this? Don't worry. After this, we will be doing practice. I will be giving you a few sentences and then you have to tell me which kind of sentence is this. Somebody's asked me if I can give you email to contact. Some teacher has given you. I don't think this practice is allowed, but I will speak to the concerned person in ICAI, and then then only I can share my personal details with you. right? Otherwise, I cannot. Divix, you've asked me how many marks carry in this exam from this chapter. I think this topic you might receive like 3, 3, 6, 6, 8 marks question from this chapter. Okay, I'm assuming that you've understood. So let's come to the future tense. Now let's talk about the continuous. In continuous, we will see it will be I will be teaching active passive. Okay. In when I talk about the structure in continuous, I will add will plus be will remain the same, and the verb using ing. Clear? In continuous. And when do we use continuous? We use continuous to indicate what will be going on at some time in the future, right? So we are trying to indicate that when this action takes place, this action will be going on for a while. I will be teaching active passive. That means it is a process. I cannot just teach you in, like, with just a snap. So the teaching takes some time. This is a whole process. So whenever I will be teaching you active passive, this action will be, take some time. And to indicate a planned future, it also indicates you a planned future, that I have already planned for this, that I will be teaching you active and passive. Am I clear? Yes. Let's quickly come to the perfect and then perfect continuous. Now in perfect continuous, the sentence will be by next week they will have earned lots of money. Now, we use perfect tense to indicate an action that will be complete before another event takes place. This is a bit tricky. I know future perfect and future perfect continuous might confuse you a bit. These are a bit confusing topics, but just try to understand, and the more you will practice, the more clarity you will get. So whatever you're studying in today's class, it is very important to go back and practice. Please take out some more exercises and practice exercise. There are some exercises given in your study material. Do practice them. Then only your doubts will be cleared. Then only you will understand better. Right now I'm just teaching you the rules and the structures and the uses of these tenses, but until and unless you practice them, you will not understand them. Am I clear? So I request you, I suggest you that please practice, and practice today only, so that you close this topic, so that you understand this completely. And please trust me, if you understand this today, you will never have issues again, right? And for another thing, for my Tuesday class also, you have to be perfect with these things. Then only you will understand the active, passive, and direct and indirect speech. Otherwise, there will be a problem, right? And please go through my last lecture also and today's lecture again, so that you have a better clarity. Okay, so it says by next week they will have earned a lots of money. By this, I am trying to tell you by this we are trying to tell you that an action that will be complete before another event takes place. Okay, so it is also telling you about the closure of the event. Now the structure is we use will plus have and has, depending on the singular and plurality of the subject. Then you have the verb, the second form of the verb, no, third form of the verb, plus the rest of the sentence. Clear? Next, future perfect continuous. In future perfect continuous, again, this is the mix of both. I will have been shopping on Tuesday. The future perfect continuous tries to tell you it indicates an action that will have happened for some time and will not be complete yet at a certain point in a time in future. So we're talking about the action that will take place in the future, but that will not be complete uh, for at least a certain period of time. Okay, I will have been shopping on Tuesday. So you see, they're talking about the action that will happen in future, but that will go on for a certain time period that nobody can predict. So coming on to the structure, we use will plus have or has plus been plus verb plus ing and rest of the sentence. Clear? Are we clear with the tenses? If there is any problem, please send in the comment box so that I can clarify it to you now. Shall can also be used in place of will, but we mostly prefer to use will, not shall. Okay, so let's start with some exercises here so that we know how much we have understood. Okay, I am writing few sentences here and you have to tell me the exact kind of sentence, kind of a tense used in this particular sentence. Will they study maths? Will they be taking care of you? So, first sentence is will they study math? We did not watch the news last night. Will they be taking care of you? Okay. And the fifth sentence is I'll give you one more. Okay. Quickly tell me the kinds of sentences of all the five sentences that I've mentioned here. Are we done? Can we discuss the answers? The first one is simple future. The next one is simple past. The third one is future continuous. The fourth one is past perfect. And the fifth one is present perfect continuous. If you got all five right, please write down all five. If you got four right, write down four right, three right, two right, depending on your answers. And if tenses are clear to you, please do mention that as well. Awesome, very good. You got all right. Okay, great. So tenses are clear, and I'm glad to see most of you got all five right. Some got four right, three right. That's fine. That's okay. Tenses can be very confusing in one go, but it's fine. You will get better as you practice. Okay, can we move on and go on to the next topic? Okay, so the next topic is an important topic from the point of view of your exams also, and the topic is about active passive voice. So now we will be starting with active passive voice, and I want you to listen to the introduction very carefully, because that is going to again set the beginning for your new topic. And I will be, for this I will be just using one PPT. Let me share it with you all. Okay, so now what is active passive voice? Let's just understand the meaning of the word voice first. Voice refers to the connection between the subject and the object of a sentence, which is linked through verbs. Okay, now in subject verb agreement, we understood it how subject and verb agrees with each other, right? Here we are talking about the voice that connects, that builds a connection between a subject and the object, and of course the link is created through verb. Here again the structure will matter a lot, but before that you should know what active voice is and what passive voice is, right? Just a simple information that the class is extended by some time. So it's one right now. Usually the class gets over by one, but I will be, I've extended the time till 1:30 today. So we will try to finish this topic, active voice, today, and then we'll meet on Tuesday. I hope that's not a problem with anyone. Everybody is ready to learn active voice. And once we are done with this topic, and we'll call it a day. Okay. So active, what I just told you, that active is the, okay. Now let's make it simple. I know the definition of voice can be very confusing, and sometimes it seems like, what does it mean? A voice, connection between subject, object, link through verb, what exactly could mean? So let's make it simple. Active voice. Look at the sentence. Tom kicked the ball. Can you see the sentence? Tom kicked a ball. Yes. Now, who is the subject in the sentence? Tom, right? What is the action taking place here? Kicked. And what is getting kicked is the ball. The ball becomes what in this sentence? I will not help you. You have to tell me. If Tom is a subject, kicked is a verb, then what is the ball? Let's see how much you remember from your last class. So, Chismita, you've asked the question, what will be the right answer for this one? Vandana visited many places. Did Vandana visit many places? This will be the question if you have to ask. So you will use did, since it's a simple past sentence, and with did we use the first form of the verb. We never use a second or third form. With did we only use the first form. So visited will become visit. I hope I've answered your question. Yeah, so if Tom is the subject and kicked is the verb, then what is the ball in a sentence? I will not move on ahead till the time I get the answer. We will be discussing a lot about this term, if you can just guess it right. Very good. I am super happy to see so many of you have answered. It is a direct object. Yes, it is the object in a sentence. So the active voice, we talk about the doer of the action. So doer of the action is a subject in the active voice. Then we have the verb, and then we have the object. Okay. In the passive voice, look at this sentence in the passive voice. The sentence will change into the ball was kicked by Tom. Now the focus has shifted from Tom to the ball in the passive voice. Right, the ball will become the subject, and then there is verb, and then there is subject here. Are we clear? Yes, I will be. Don't worry, I will be explaining it to you after, after this PPT. I will be writing and then showing it to you how this happens. But before that, just understand the basic meaning of active voice and passive voice. So, an active voice, the subject of the sentences are doing the action. So, active voice is clear, straight, and direct. The sentence, the way the action is taking place. Our focus is on the subject. The subject is a doer of the action. Okay, but in passive, the the subject is the object, on which the action is taking place, right? The object, or the thing that is taking the action on or upon in itself, becomes the subject in passive voice, right? In active voice, the doer of the action is followed by the verb. In the passive voice, the doer of the action is preceded by the verb. That means the subject comes, the doer of the action comes after the verb. Okay, whereas the doer of the action is comes before the verb in active voice. In passive voice, it comes after the verb. The receiver of the action is preceded by the verb, right? This is that's the same thing. The thing that takes the action comes after the verb. In the passive voice, it comes before the verb. The meaning, when it comes to meaning in active and passive voice, in active voice it is quite clear and straight and direct and concise what we are trying to say, because we know who did the action and what action took place. In passive voice, it gets At times it gets very confusing, like, what happened, who did the action and who received it. At times these things become very confusing. So one, if you ask the suggestion in professionally or personally, one should try to use active voice. But using a passive voice has its own pros, it has own benefits, it has own advantages of passive voice. We will discuss when we start with the passive voice in details. Okay, look at this example. Active voice. The sentence structure of active voice is subject, verb, object, like a normal sentence structure. There is a subject, there is a verb, there is an object. Monkeys adore bananas. The cashier counted the money. The dog chased the squirrel. Okay, simple. So the one who is doing the action is in the subject, then there is verb, and then there is the receiver of the action, whom we also call it object. But in passive voice, it is changed. In passive voice, monkeys adore bananas will become bananas are adored by monkeys. Okay. Now the sentence structure will change. We have subject, we have a form of be. Form of be is, am, are, was, were. It totally depends on the subject, on the tense of the sentence. So simple present tense, the first sentence is into simple present tense, so we will use are. Then we will use a third form of the verb. Whenever we change any sentence from active to passive, the verb will change into the third form, adore. Then we use by, and then the doer of the action comes in the end, by monkeys. Okay. Next sentence. The cashier counted the money will become the money was counted by the cashier. The money will become the subject. Now this sentence is into past tense, so we will use was here. That counted by the cashier. The squirrel was chased by the dog instead of the dog chased a squirrel. Right? Okay, let's come back to our writing board and then you will understand better. Okay. So the latest topic that we're discussing is active voice and passive voice. Okay, I'll pick the top examples that we were discussing in the slide. If I say the cashier counted the money. Okay, now the cashier is the subject and also the doer of the action. He is the one who's doing the action, right? Then there is a verb that is in past tense, and then we have the receiver of the action. Am I clear? Yes. This is the active voice. This is plain and simple. The doer of the action is the subject here. Okay? And the receiver of the action is the object. Right? And the sentence structure of active is simple, just like a simple sentence, which is subject plus verb plus object. Right? Now let's come to the passive voice. How will you change this sentence into the passive voice? Here, in the passive voice, the receiver of the action becomes the subject. Okay? Right? And the subject will become the object here, the cashier. Okay? Understood? The this one comes here and this one goes here. Right? Now, what you need to understand is how to use the verb. Okay, there is entire table that needs to be understood. I will be teaching you about, like, in each tense how you will change the sentences. But for now, just understand the basics here. Since it is in simple past, the counter is in simple past, so then we will use was. We would have used were if the subject was plural. Okay, so was. After this, we will use the third form of the verb. The third form of counted remains counted, and we use by in passive voice before the doer of the action, because by will basically tell you about who is doing the action. Since we are changing the active from passive and the doer of the action goes towards the end, so it is very important to add by to connect them, okay, to tell who is the doer of the action. Clear? Are we clear with the simple basic understanding of active and passive voice? If you understand this, the rest will not be very difficult to understand. Okay. Now let's just understand the active voice first. What are the rules and what all things goes through when we change from active to passive voice? Okay. Now active, when is active voice used? Active voice is used when you want to have a strong, direct, and clear tone. Strong, direct, and clear tone. Okay, there's nothing confusing about active voice. Whenever you use active voice in your emails or when you're having a verbal communication, there is nothing confusing about it, because we know directly about whom you're talking, about what you're talking about, what action took place, everything, right? And that helps you to convey your message effectively. This is very important. Since okay, uh, since you are saying everything directly, it becomes, your communication becomes effective, right? Whereas the passive voice can use a lot of words. If you see, when you change from active to passive, the words increases, the word limit increases when you're changing the words from here to here. This is a very small sentence, but when you're speaking a longer sentence, it will change. So it becomes a bit confusing again. Some people might not understand what you're trying to say. Am I clear? Yes. Okay, so the first thing first, passive. Change of subject and object. I've already explained you how the subject and object changes from when you are changing the sentences from active to passive. How subject becomes the object and object becomes the subject. Clear? Then comes the second rule, which is the change of verb form. Okay. Now, how does the change of verb form plays a role? Look at this very carefully. I will quickly draw a table for you so that you understand what I'm trying to say here. Tenses, this active voice, and this is passive voice. Okay. Now, in simple present tense, if the sentence is dance, okay, in passive voice, it will become no, not danced. Eats, okay. She eats cookies. In passive voice, it will become the cookies are eaten by her. Okay. Now, there are two, three things to notice here. One is, of course, the cookies come in the front, and we use are because that's a plural form and third form of the verb. and then we use by and her. So we use by and her to indicate the person who is speaking. So we use by and her to indicate the person who is speaking. Yeah. Hello. जी sir. Okay, so like I was just telling you that in present tense, when we are doing, we have a sentence in simple present form. तो मैंने बंद किया हुआ है. सर मैंने अभी बंद किया है बिकॉज मैं उस पे हूँ, मोबाइल डेटा पे हूँ. स्क्रीन नहीं दिख. ठीक है. Yes. So I was explaining you that when we have active voice in tense, which is in simple present tense, when we change it to passive voice, this is how it works. And when we are changing from active voice to past passive voice, we have subject, we add is, am, are, plus the third form of the verb, plus by, and plus the subject will become object here. Here, she will become her here. Am I clear? Although it's already mentioned in your it's kind of mentioned in your this thing also in your study material also on the page number 2.20. I have already explained it, the structures there. Okay, you can refer to it, you can look at the how the structure works, but I am just from for your understanding, I am explaining it to you once again. Present continuous. If the sentence says she is eating cookies, if it says she is eating cookies, now this will become cookies are being eaten by her again. Clear? Okay. Now, when you are changing in present continuous form, when you are changing from uh, active voice to passive voice, you have subject, then you use is, am, are, then you use being, then you use V3, and then we use by, and then the rest of the thing follows. Clear? I will be just finishing present tense today, and then I will be continuing on Tuesday for past tense and future tense, and for the rest of the passive voice. Now comes the present perfect. If it says she has eaten cookies, now how will this work in present perfect? In present perfect, we use cookies, has is there for us, right? Then we use been here because it's present perfect and we are changing it to the passive voice. We will add been here. Then we use the third form of the verb, which is eaten, and then by, and then plus the subject becomes object here. Am I clear? Yes. Is there any problem that you had so far in active passive voice? Okay, so rest of the topics I will be continuing on Tuesday. Just let me know if the topics are clear to you so far. That would help me. Otherwise, whatever problems are there, I will be taking them again on Tuesday. Okay. Is there any problem that you have? I am waiting. I'm going through your comment section. Have you understood the active voice? Have you understood that how in present tense, when the sentences are in present tense and active voice, how they change in passive voice? What is the structural difference? How do we change it? What are the rules? Sandeep, thank you so much for answering. Yes, cookies are being eaten by her. This is very well said. Yes, there are a lot of people who are asking me that my name was not there in the feedback form. I'll just again check with the technical team because I am not sure why it is and I don't even know about the technical things. So I will speak to the concerned person in ICI and let me get it checked that why my name is not showing up in the feedback form. Maybe this is some technical glitch. But never mind, you can leave your feedback here. That would also help. Okay, you can leave your feedback form here, you can leave your feedback here. Let me know how was today's class. I'm sorry for the technical glitches, but that was all natural. It was not something that I created, so it was just that some technical errors that happened. I'll try that this does not happen again on Tuesday. And also this was the first time that these things happened with me, so I'll take care of them in the rest of the sessions to come. Okay, so we'll see you on Tuesday. If there is any problem, if there's anything, just leave the comment so that I can go through them, and let me know how you if you like today's session. Bye. I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a good weekend. Hanji. Ah, so thank you.